Hey everybody, Pino coming back to you. Did you ever rent Blockbuster video games? Did you know that they offered Blockbuster exclusive video games only? Well, we're going to take a look at one of those today, so keep tuned. As mentioned, I'll be covering a Blockbuster exclusive, Hagane, The Final Conflict. This game here I picked up quite a few years ago. Probably got it out of one of the going out of business bins at Blockbuster Video. My copy here still has the warning labels, as can see. And if I break the seal, you can see there. If I break the seal, I will end up owning the game. Then it was probably only a few bucks, 20, 30 bucks to buy maybe. At this point, I'm not sure if you're aware, this game goes for anywhere from about $6.25 to $7.50 in a cartridge. So I just wanted to go over that with you. My first video on my channel was actually a Hagane playthrough, and was sort of on a whim. I don't feel that I did justice. I just decided to start my channel after I filmed what would seem to be almost an impossible feat, as this game is incredibly difficult. But in that, at the end of my gameplay, I was just hanging out sort of in low light and threw up the camera and decided to get some gameplay and covered some of the key points. But today I want to go over it a little bit further and provide some information about the game, so those collectors out there looking to pick up a hard copy can be better educated as to, is it worth it or not. So let's talk price. Is Hagane the Final Conflict the game that you would buy for $625 to $725? Is this something that you could afford to add to your collection? Most people would say no, and I would agree. As a mega collector, if you're looking for a copy of this, just loose like this, I'm sure you'd be incredibly happy. And if you wanted to seek out a nice mint condition with a box and instructions for, I'm sure, well over $1,600, that would be worth it for the mega collector. As I mentioned before, Blockbuster made exclusive games that were only for rent or sale in their store, where you had to go to Blockbuster to rent it or to buy it. And most Blockbusters hung on to their copies and did not let them out into the wild until the company started closing their doors. And they started offloading product, and some of these made them into the bins, and they circulated. And so there's a rarity factor to it that probably bumps up the price. Looking back at about 2005 to 2008, this game averaged about 25 to 50 bucks. It wasn't very much. And as I mentioned before, I lucked out and got it probably out of a dollar bin. It utilized everything that SNES had to offer in terms of hardware, and the peripherals and its controllers and things. It didn't have to go over the top. It just utilized everything that the gaming system was meant for. But the rarity is what bumps it up so high. So do you want to add a $600 cart to your collection? Or would you rather buy several different SNES cartridges, or Sega, Dreamcast, or TurboGrafx, or whatever you're collecting? You can get so many more games just for the cost of one. But I don't recommend collecting for this game. I myself, if I did not luck out and got one of these copies 15 years ago, I would not pay this kind of money for this game. With that in mind, not being a mega collector, but continuing to collect, I would recommend go ahead and look at the gems that you like to play, the games that have good memories and nostalgia for you. But before you look at games that are $100+, you really want to make sure your investment is going to good use. It took me a couple months to beat it. So if I had spent $600, $700 on this, I would have gotten a couple months at 20, 30-minute intervals. And finally, when I finally completed it, it took me about, about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Was it worth $600? For 2 hours, I can go see a new Star Wars movie that comes out here in December for, you know, $10 a ticket or less. For popcorn and everything, my family only spends 50 or $60. That's a great value for a couple hours of entertainment. You can go to the bowling alley and spend a few bucks for a couple hours of entertainment. So is $600 or $700 worth it for a couple hours of entertainment? Hagane, the Final Conflict, takes gaming on the SNES to a whole new level. I would say this is probably my top 3 to 5 SNES games of all time. Have I played the entire library? No. But there is value in this game. Beyond its rarity, this game is worth seeking out, either maybe at a friend's house to borrow, or go over to his house, even better, smash buttons and bump elbows past the controller. What could be better than that? It'd be like reliving 1996 all over again. But this game must be sought out for the player that likes to play interesting, well-rounded, challenging games. It took me quite a long time to master this game. So you might have to spend a few days hanging out with your buddy. Instead of talking to him online, you're going to have to go over and say, hey, let's play Hagane. It is an awesome and phenomenal game. Don't give up seeking it out. Maybe go to your local shop and see if they have a copy that maybe they'll put in their system and let you play. Maybe you can set at a time in their game room and play it. Or maybe they have it for emulation. Now that's a touchy subject. I'm told you're needing to own the copy, which it's really expensive to be able to emulate it. But should you find the opportunity to play it, I wouldn't turn it down. It's worth at least a good 30-40 minute sit down, understand how the controls work, understand how the gameplay and the platforming work, and just try to get to level 2. You'll be so enamored as to, why can't I beat this? I must beat this. I must get to the next level. No other game, just on gameplay, not story, just on gameplay, that I've played on the SNES will do that for me. All too often I get to the next level and I beat the last one, and it wasn't too hard, there was some challenging, but the storyline helps drive it along. What's one of the most annoying things ever in games that I grew up with? That's the one-hit wonders. One hit, you wonder why you're dead. I don't know. Maybe programmers just had it out for us. But I swear you'd be pixels away and you would get hit by one of their weapons or their body or something, and you would lose a hit point, you would lose their power up, or you would just die, fall down a ravine. Who knows? But Hagane got over all of that. That is one of the things that I didn't quite understand when I started playing it. You go through the levels and you can walk right through enemies. The only thing that hits you is their weapons. What a concept. That's why Hagane is so great. I didn't know that existed. They fine-tuned this game to break every mold that was set before it. So, once you understand that, once you get the jumping down and the somersaults in the air, and you understand how the platforming works, you will find this game to be enthralling. It will take you to a new level of understanding when it comes to platform games. The only thing I wish is if it had a story, a little bit deeper of a story, 2 or 3 screens, but this would have been a top game had it not been only released at Blockbuster Video. Copies for this go for about $100 in Japan for the Super Famicom edition, and I guess they had it everywhere. But today, people still seek out that game because there is value in its gameplay. $100 Japanese cart and maybe a Super Famicom, if you want to spend $150 and import it from Japan, that might be the route to go. There's no English to be read in this, really. You just play the game. So I definitely condone getting a Super Famicom and getting a copy from Japan. But definitely try it out. And until next time, keep smashing buttons, knocking elbows, and keep on gaming on. Hey guys, it's Pino. I've been in San Diego all week on vacation, hanging out with my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, hanging out with my nieces. We've been playing video games, going to the park, just going out and having fun. But I decided to do a little bit of game hunting, so that'll be on my next episode. And I'm also going to incorporate it in a new segment, something called Did You Know? We'll see what we can do on this. But one of the things I ran into was, did you know that there are two different kinds of Nintendo cartridges? There's two different kinds of Nintendo cartridges. We're going to look at some differences here. I found out that I thought one was a fake. This one here, as you can see, has no label. It's just engraved on the back. And this one has the sticker. But we're going to take these apart, take a look at them. I'll educate you guys on a little bit of information on these. So keep tuned for that episode and enjoy the next episode where we go through to San Diego and its suburbs and find some cool game stores that got some sales going on, got cool people hanging out and educating and sharing the gaming community with others, and just making connections and friends is really cool. So keep tuned.